in my recent newsletter, I talked about how we can create a new reality with our thoughts, and I just wanted to explore that a little bit more and also share a really useful exercise with you in terms of how you can shift your mindset and move away from fear, overwhelm, and just shift your emotions to a more positive place, to more positive, empowering emotions. So we are what we think, effectively, because we are what we focus on. So when we have all the thousands of negative thoughts that go through our head every single day, we start focusing on what's going through our head. We start focusing on the thoughts. So if we're particularly worried about something, we're worried about money, we're worried about health, we're going to start saying the same negative thought patterns, the same negative stories over and over again. And basically what we're doing is we're actually programming our brain to think from a state of fear, because all you're doing is repetitively focusing on the negative statements. But when we start to flip what we are telling ourselves and the language we use and the patterns we have and the stories we tell ourselves, then we can start focusing on more of the positive, and we can release that fear. Because remember, fear is just false evidence appearing real, and most of the stories that we actually create in our head aren't actually true. So we actually create stories in our head through visual images. So if I said to you, don't think of a pink elephant, what would be the first thing you'd see in your head? It's a pink elephant. If I said, what is the colour of your front door? Immediately you see your front door and what colour it is. So we think actually in images. We think in images and words, and it's when we can change the images and words in our head that we can create a more empowered, positive, emotional state, and we can move away from fear, move into hope or optimism, for example. So the exercise that I want to share with you today is going to help you get a lot more clearer on the negative thoughts that you have floating around in your head, how to release them and how to change them. In fact, there's two little exercises I want to share. I'm going to share a bonus one today. The first one is a really, really simple thing. When you do notice a negative thought, so I noticed a negative thought the other day around money, and I started spiraling with, if this happens and this happens and this happens. So when you notice it and you've got that awareness of the negative thought, there's a couple of things you can do, like commands, because basically like the brain is effectively like a computer operating system, and we want to send a command to the brain. So when you hear that negative statement, that negative voice in your head, the negative story, you can just say stop, or you can say that's not a useful thought. But you can create a command that stops your thought processes in that moment. And then once you've said stop, or this is not a useful thought, reframe it and change that thought into what you want it to be. So I say to myself, I'm worried that when I come off furlough, I'm not going to get any money in my part-time job. And then I can shift that, and I can say to myself, I'm really excited when furlough is finished. By then, I would have done more in my business and I have more clients that I can help through my ebook or whatever it might be. So I can switch it to a more positive statement, and then I start to focus on that. Or if it's just a word that I hear, like, frustration, and it's linked to money, I can, change that to abundance. So just stop. It's not a useful thought, not a useful word. Flip the switch and just change it from a negative into a positive. The other thing that you can do, which is a really, really useful tool and tip, which I often use with my clients, is if there's a particular area of your life that you're worried about right now, whether it's your health, whether it's money, whether it's your career, whether it's your environment, whether it's your relationship with your partner, your family, etc. Set a timer for 5 minutes on your phone and grab a pad and a pen. If you don't want to use a pad or pen, get a computer, but just write down. It doesn't have to be Dear Diary or anything, but just generally write down anything or everything that comes to mind in relation to this specific thought or this specific topic rather. So family or environment, finances, and literally just brain dump for 5 minutes. And when you've finished, read it back, highlight the key words, like the key negative words, the key themes, the key patterns. So when I did this, I noticed the word frustration kept on coming up around the word money. So what it allowed me to do was allow me to become more consciously aware of my language. The next step is to reframe the word. So instead of frustration about money, maybe you can change to gratitude that you do have money in your bank account, no matter how much it is. Grateful that you have paid your rent or mortgage this month, okay? And also if it's a theme, if it's a statement, you can flip that statement and turn it into a positive. And when you do this, you become more consciously aware of the negative thoughts that you have in your head. So you then start focusing more on the positives, or you can start reframing your language so you can create a new reality for yourself. So when I did this, I found myself saying to a friend, oh, I feel so frustrated around money. But I managed to stop myself because I was consciously aware that I was feeling frustrated around money, and I was, talking about feeling frustrated around money, and I was using that word. So I became more consciously aware of my language, and I changed my language. And in that moment, I felt better, because when I talked about frustration around money, what did I feel? I feel frustrated. Where when I flipped it and said, even though, it's not the right time to buy this or do that, I'm really grateful that I've got money, or whatever it was I said. But I was able to flip it and change my emotional state and change my reaction and my reality in life. Because when you change your thoughts, you change how you feel, the actions that you take, and the outcome that you create, because you change your emotions. And when we change our emotions, we change our reality. So it is about changing what you think, changing your mindset to change your life. So I hope you found that useful. I hope you're enjoying the newsletters, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care now. Bye.